Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chowdappa and I work in the same department in level 10 in the procurement subdivision. We have been talking about the word corruption and how people are corrupt. I want to expand the definition of corruption by also including those people who are inactive when they look at corruption. When corruption happens, the people who are silent spectators of that happening are also morally corrupt in some ways. And that's where I fully congratulate those whistleblowers who expose those kind of events and bring it to the attention of ICIC. Sometimes the whistleblowers are also penalized. That's very unfortunate. But we should really appreciate the whistleblowers who expose all those corrupt incidents so that justice is maintained. She was very emotional. She didn't miss any opportunity to talk about her pet within that short time. Perhaps one opportunity existed for her to use the word of the day, corrupt, because dogs and uncorruption can be linked somehow. The second speaker, Tom. How will you name a hurricane? Tom took his time. He was very logical. He started thinking, hurricane is something disastrous. And then he correlated in his mind, who is a disastrous person? And then he came out with Hitler. That was a very clear way of thinking under pressure. He did it very well. He was very composed, but at the same time it was also a bit subdued in his voice. Perhaps he can practice talking a bit louder in his speech next time. He did make eye contact with most of the people. A few points for his suggestion, for his consideration would be during the last sentences when he speaks, he was trying to look at the Toastmaster and then was speaking at the Toastmaster. That can be avoided because the speech has to be given to the general audience. The next speaker, Michael Counter. Any mystery that can be solved. And he was very quick to think about Kennedy. Of course, who would not agree with him? Nobody has still solved the mystery of Kennedy's assassination. But I was impressed with his ability to target that particular incident immediately that was relevant to the topic. That was a great skill Michael has. He was very friendly, very conversational, very smiling, used gestures, and he was not using monologue sentences. He was not simply saying, yes, this is an incident, it needs to be solved. But he was also expanding the topic to fill the time, and in that process, he made very relevant speech. A few points for consideration. One of the hands was all the time behind. Sometimes the words were very soft at the end of the sentences, and there was an opportunity for him to close the speech very well, decisively, and then go back to the seat. The last speaker, Peter, unusual member in the family. I can clearly see that Peter was a bit nonplussed how to select, but he started thinking. He didn't give up the opportunity. He really started thinking, and he logically went around, yes, finally he chose his father. He also expressed in that exercise that he is a very transparent person who is not afraid of talking the truth. He exposed his father being the unusual person, but he did it in a very nice way, not in a derogatory way. That was very clever of him. He also introduced humor by talking about his father and his structure. He spoke about his activities, and then in that process, he explained to us how his father was unusual, which was good. He used gestures. Again, in Tom's case, perhaps being the first meeting attendee, his hands were clasped, and that can be something worked out in future speeches. Madam Deputy Thompson.
Thank you, Chowdappa.